Club Chit Chat is the place to be. You're in the right place. Yes, you're hearing a different voice. That's because Miss Sophia is out today, and it takes a whole lot of people to take her place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we up and through here this afternoon. You're inside Club Chit Chat, and I have some great guests, co-hosts in here today. Queen Sheba, you may already know her, but I'll let her introduce herself on this afternoon. What's going on? Tell us about yourself, who you is.
What up, everybody? I am Queen Sheba, spoken word art. Thank you. Queen Sheba, spoken word artist, DJ, comedian, host, event curator, small business owner, living in Atlanta, and drum roll. I am a new candidate for Seat 2, District 2, Board of Education for Atlanta. Pew, 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 pew.
Wait a minute. So
pew.
all of this is going on right about now?
Man, and I'm about to be on a reality show and release these 90 days of this summer.
Oh, no. The reality show is that you just said you're going to enter into being the...
right. No.
That's the reality show.
And it's funny because the reality show is going to capture the whole campaign. So it's on and popping. I went downtown today to submit my declaration of intent. So it is official, people. I am in the running for my third piece of political office, but my first political office here in Atlanta.
Well,
and education is my thing. You know, I'm a word nerd, so you know.
Word nerd. All right, what's the word of the day? Give me a word. What's your word of the day? Something good. Something good. Something, you know, like décolletant or something.
Oh, décolletant. That's a good one. Crux.
Crux. Oh, okay. Use it in a sentence.
The crux of the situation is that I need to raise $150,000 to be able to run for office.
And the plot thickens.
Dun, dun, dun. Crux. Y'all come
talk
up
about
with
an
crux.
entry fee.
Right.
I was just telling them off camera that it's interesting that the Board of Education seat is actually a part-time job, and I'm still going to be working at Clark, which I'm in education. Shout out to Clark Atlanta University as a professor over there in creative writing. It's a part-time job, and it's, you know, the payroll is totally open and available to the public. So it was $15,000 to hold a seat to serve in political office for the Board of Education down at the Capitol, and now we got a raise to $30,000.
Wow. Congratulations. So you've already started. You've already started the campaign officially?
Today I turned in my paperwork. That's what I did before. So officially, I can collect my first dollar without going to jail. So
all right.
Yeah.
We'll see what
we
can
do. You know,
I
set up my PayPal. I started my business. I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready. Sheba, Queen Sheba for Atlanta.
All right.
On everything.
All right, so Commissioner Gordon, you are a regular here on the show, but for those that don't know, you know, go ahead and tell us about yourself, who you are, what you do.
Well, I host a podcast. It's called The Commissioner's Conversation. It's on basic platform is on Audio Boom, but it can be heard wherever you listen to your podcast. So if you listen to Apple Podcast, I'm there. If you're on Spotify, I'm there. iHeart also. Also, I have started a YouTube interviews where I'm interviewing guests. So usually on my podcast, it's usually just me, and I'm just going off on whatever story that is of the day. On the YouTube special, though, I'm going to talk to and interview a bunch of different guests. So if it's like now, it's basketball, it's NBA playoffs. So I usually have someone, like the one I'm going to release now is I'm talking to a basketball official, a referee.
Okay.
So we're going to
the enemy. Referee is synonymous with enemy.
It depends if you're on the winning or the losing team.
Well,
every losing team says the refs was off today.
Right.
Every winning team be like, yeah, that was cool with me. You know, it was good.
Right,
and so, and he talks about that perspective in terms of how they don't want to be a part of the game. Like everybody thinks that the referee has this agenda on what they want to do. And so we kind of get into a lot of that, like what the mentality of the referee.
Now, let me ask you this, because and this is no slight against you, but everybody has a podcast.
Right.
What did I stress that enough?
Yeah, do it again.
Everybody has a podcast. When we look at Commissioner Gordon's Commissioner's Conversations,
yes,
what is it about your podcast that sticks out from, say, the next guy who's talking about sports?
Well, 9 times out of 10, I'm talking about a lot of the stories that the major sports network kind of gloss over.
Okay.
And typically it's something that has to do with race. Typically it has something to do with religion. It has something to do with, they don't really want to touch a lot of those subjects. Mm-hmm. We sit and we talk about it and we get in depth in those conversations.
Yeah, so you talk about like you boys at the house. Man, that
right.
He knew better, and you know what? I should kick it. Y'all, that's that conversation.
That's that conversation.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna start trying to listen because I am not a sports guy. I know basketball is men running up and down the court in shorts. I know football is men running up and down the field in tight pants.
Hilarious.
Right.
I know the important parts. I mean, so I need to listen. We'll talk more about that. But a little bit later on, we got some more guests popping up in through here.
Yes, we do.
Mr. Tommy Bottoms is going to be in the house. He is an author and a playwright. He's got some stuff on the way that he's going to talk about. And Jay Catrice
absolutely
is also an author, a poetess as well. So we're going to have a little sports. We're going to have a little chit-chat. This is what it is, Club Chit-Chat. We're going to talk about a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You're going to be entertained, and it takes all of us to sit in Sophia's seat. So get ready. Get
ready. Feel that big personality.
Right, exactly. So keep it where you got it. Matter of fact, if you want to talk to us, you can give us a call at 678-839-9378. In the meantime, let's get going with some more music. Here's Filey with Gotta Go on Club Chit Chat on the Urban Sound of Pride. I wrote that. WERUradio. You're listening to Chocolate with Wide Open on Club Chit Chat on WERUradio, the Urban Sound of Pride. Good afternoon to you, and especially you. So glad you're in the right place to get it in, baby, as you wind up your work day. As you get on the highway, or maybe, just chilling at the house. You're in the right place to get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's Club Chit Chat, but yes, this is not Miss Sophia. This is a person trying to fill in the shoes of Miss Sophia, along with a couple of others trying to do the same thing. Miss Queen Sheba is in the house. Good afternoon, Queen.
I'm trying to munch on these Oreos because I did not have lunch. And Oreos are vegan, y'all. That's what y'all know.
Right.
They're vegan.
I was trying to tell some people in there that were like, are any of those vegans? And I said Oreos, and they looked at me like, why is you lying like that? Yeah.
Oreos are vegan. In 1997, they stopped using pig in their cream.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, why are you using pig in cream? I thought it was cow.
Hello.
Oh.
Right, Oreos. But anyway, they stopped it. So now it's just chemicals.
Okay. And just in case you ever come to the WERUradio studios, we have a great snack basket.
Man, this snack basket
is
up
amazing.
there.
Right. We got a little brown liquor.
Got some water.
Mm-hmm. So you'll be a great guest.
If you request it in advance, you get fruit.
Yes, if you do. If you do, request.
That's fresh.
If you send your rider information.
I didn't send it my rider, my bad.
Well, off the air, we were having a really interesting conversation. And it all started with us talking about social media. And recently, Summer Walker was feeling a little bit of pressure about posting a picture of her newborn baby. The fans were saying, we want to see the baby. We want to see the baby. First of all, she should have took a picture. She should have took the idea from Beyonce. You don't see your baby until that baby about 17 years old.
Right. Hello.
Here's a picture of the baby. But under the pressure, she took a picture of the baby. And it was not the most flattering picture.
Okay.
But it was an honest, here's my baby picture. And fans went ham on
Berated her.
Oh, my God.
Another word of the day, berate.
Yeah. Well, they said she looked malnourished. The baby looked malnourished.
The baby looked malnourished, y'all?
Yeah, it did. She did. The baby.
Okay.
The baby.
Well,
but Summer Walker's not so big.
I was getting ready to say.
Yeah,
she's not.
She went to the point where I think she was only eating like fruit. And everybody was saying, even while she was pregnant, that she looked sick. And she basically gave her the same comments that she looked like she wasn't well.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Me and my friend are supposed to be on a fruit fast right now. We're going on vacation, so we're supposed to be doing fruit and water for the next 10 days. But that's only 10 days.
Right. Yeah.
So that's interesting.
And so, we were talking about the pressure of social media because, of course, she slammed back, got upset. She said, I'm never going to take another picture of my baby ever again.
Until they graduate college, girl.
And that's what I say. But we were talking about how social media has been the dictator of our life.
I like what you said off the air. It has been their Bible and their, not resource, what did you say? Their Bible and their affirmation.
Yeah,
They're-
it's the barometer by which they judge themselves.
yeah.
Especially the younger kids, simply because they grew up in this era.
But you know what? There's a lot of older people. There's a lot of older people who are in the industry.
Right.
You know, they're fashion icons, they're influencers, and so that social media. If it goes off the edge, they go off the edge too.
Yeah, true. They're trying to live a second life through social media, and I definitely understand that.
I wonder what would have happened if Instagram had gone along with the thing when they were saying they were going to take away the likes.
Stupid.
Really?
Yeah, they wanted to keep the picture because everybody's gotten consumed with everything. And they were saying because you want that picture, you want that like, and your self-esteem is ultimately tied to the
that's
likes.
so funny because I definitely took down a post the other day that only got like 12 likes.
See? Your
I was like,
self-esteem.
this is not about to mess up my metrics.
Right. Yeah,
But that's horrible.
But that's how we are.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
and you continue what you're saying.
But it doesn't take away from the picture. Like it doesn't take away from what whether
How
it was
you felt
right.
originally about
You might
it.
have loved the dress you were wearing. You might have
Right.
loved the place that you were, where you were, whether you were eating, whatever. But because only so many people followed, like they didn't like
maybe
that.
it wasn't such a nice dress after all. Delete.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
But
But if
I'm
you
never
don't,
wearing this dress again.
if you don't have that component though, that's telling you how many people liked it, then it's just another post.
You know, it has gotten bad for me where I actually look up the insights.
Really?
Yeah. Me too. I even go to
is
the
kind of your
insights.
job,
I
like?
check my followers every day to see I see how many have unfollowed and followed. This is always interesting to me. Like, why would you unfollow me? Like Nicki Minaj said, follow me? Who don't follow me? Like, what's wrong with y'all? I'm interesting. And so, but it's things like that. It's like, oh, I lost 36 followers. And I never really wonder who. But it's just like, I wonder why they decided to follow me. You know, but you think about those things
Right.
like, oh, well, maybe it was the picture, or maybe it was the video, or maybe I didn't post enough content or whatever, because, you know, I'm at that age where I'm not super young. I'm not in my 20s, but I'm not older either. So social media is still influencing what's happening in my life, the shows that I get. And then, of course, promoters are like, well, you got, 14,000 followers, then let me put you on this show. And they try to turn that into dollars, and it doesn't really work that way.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't always, because some of those followers could have been dormant from years ago.
Or bought and
There you go.
inactive.
Yeah.
Bought and inactive.
Yeah.
Well, here's the
None of my followers are bought, though. Hello. Just want to say that.
one of the other things that we were talking about is, and you said this off the air. Somebody follows you or they make a comment and you go, "Oh, you only have 300 followers, child, please."
Right? Yeah, it's like,
and it's like, yeah, but
you don't even matter. You're a non-factor.
Yeah, but they might have been just starting.
Yeah,
And that's what I was-
You had 300 followers at one time, but
I did not start it.
Social
No, I'm
media,
just playing.
but social media has made us have this elitist attitude.
Yeah.
I was watching. It was somebody on Mike Q, and I'm gonna call him out because I saw it was on his social media. He's from Legendary, and somebody said, "Hey, I would love to collab with you." And he responds on his timeline in the reply, "Man, you ain't got no followers. Move."
And see, and that's the thing, because if you see that you only have 300 followers, that doesn't take away from their dopeness. That doesn't take away from the thing that they
could have been
can bring.
the hidden gem that
Right.
put you both over.
Yeah. I was like, yo, I would
he didn't even
never.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have time to listen to somebody, that's totally different than basing their whole level of artistic talent on how many followers they have.
But that's also a DM comment.
It's also a DM comment.
Right.
No. This was in.
No.
No,
I'm saying
we're saying
that
that
if
it
you're going
should
to
have
make
been.
that comment,
yeah.
that's a DM
Well,
comment.
especially
That's
that comment. Really, you shouldn't say it at all because
Right.
screenshot is a thing.
yeah, that's true too.
Screenshot is a real thing. You
That
shouldn't say
is
it at all.
true.
You could say anything. So this guy slid in my DM the other day, and his page was private, and he was like, so I couldn't see his picture, but he was in my DM, and I was like, well, send me a picture, and he was like, well, follow my page, and I was like, all right, touche, fair, right?
Okay.
So I went to go follow his page, and I was like, I was not attracted to him at all. And so I just politely was like, oh, thank you so much, but I'm unavailable. Because you just never know.
curve.
Right. The curve
you
after
so-
the follow.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I unfollowed because you don't know who unfollows you, right? So then I immediately unfollowed. Oh, yeah.
Wait, I know Twitter has this bot. Should I
Yep.
say that out loud? They have this bot that tells you who follows you and unfollows
Yeah.
you. Does Instagram have that?
It does, but I don't have it. I don't want to know.
My
That's
feelings
too
get
deep.
my feelings get hurt.
Yes,
yeah,
my feelings get
stopped
way
it.
too hurt.
I don't pay any attention, and because like when I started the Commissioner's Gordon's page, I just started posting like stories. I would do a lot of advertising and stuff like that, and I rarely look at like I think I only have probably like 700 or some followers my damn self, but I know people who will say, "Oh, well, you can get this and you can buy these followers," and I'm like,
that.
but you see it all the time in terms of like they might have 60,000 followers. But then the ratio, right? You look at the picture and it's
like
20
likes.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah,
no.
There's no way in hell.
Right.
And that's one reason I would never buy followers. I'm never gonna buy a check mark. Like if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. Like that's just me. And really, social media is about posting what's fun and showing your confidence and what you like doing. And you'll get organic followers like that anyway. People will share your posts and your pictures and your videos if you're just being yourself.
Yeah, I was excited when WERUradio's Instagram went above 2,000 followers. I was like, yes, yes. And and then I look at 34,000. Okay, never mind.
No, you get.
But what means more to me is when someone who notices something that I'm doing acknowledges what I'm doing, as opposed to So I guess it would be quality instead of the quantity.
Yes.
So it is someone that I kind of respect, or I pretty much I hold in high regard, and they say, "Oh, I saw that too," and we get into a conversation, and then we go from there. And so I look at it that way. I don't really look at it as I need 1 million people to follow. But I mean, I get it. Like eventually I would like to have 1 million people to follow because I think I do those stuff. So
right.
like yes.
Right.
But
I
have to make a conscious effort to not let it
And then it's
consume
also
me.
a way to underground market and promote. So I think, too, as a curator of events, the numbers mean a little bit to me, too, because it's like, okay, if I have these followers from all over the place, granted, most of them are Atlanta. Like I said, I go into my metrics and see what cities have the most. And then I'm like, oh, well, then I could go to this city and then put on a show.
Right.
So that it does, equate to how I move about a little bit. So there is some real factors in there for just. Well, speaking of which, I have a brand new Instagram page, Queen Sheba for Atlanta. So please go. And actually, instead of saying follow, I say now, what did I say on here? Please support.
Support.
Because I don't know if I want followers. You know what I mean? I want people to support what I'm doing.
But that's another word, like how we were talking about off the air, where it says social media and drug dealers. People refer to them as users. Like follow.
Yeah.
That's a crazy word. Like you're following me.
Yeah.
I'm not really following you. I'm kind of just watching.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Observe me.
Come observe me. My life.
Right.
While you're not doing anything.
But support is such a so much better word, because if you have an event going on, I can like and share. So it's support. It doesn't cost. I'm not going in my pocket. I mean, you would like for people to go in the pocket because you want to raise your money.
Right.
But if someone has music, or someone is starting a fashion line, you can like and share the picture because of the algorithm that once you like stuff, it goes out to some of your followers, some of your supporters.
Right.
And that way, but I think support is so much better of a word than the follow, because then it's like worship me.
But here's the thing, and we're gonna go back to take our break. But support is an action word.
Support is an action word.
And so a lot of times you'll have followers who don't support.
Absolutely.
That's true. And so when you use the word support, that comes with some
responsibility.
Yeah.
Some responsibility.
So support ain't gonna work. So your followers you can be inactive and follow behind somebody. You don't have to do any work to follow someone.
Right.
You better preach here today, boy.
Right.
Yes.
But yeah, so we'll figure it out.
Well, my algorithm on my personal page is full of pit bulls and and puppies and Great Danes. I don't know. I follow them on Instagram because they're so cute. And at night, I just scroll through Tony Baker and the guy who does the voiceover for the animals, and then a whole bunch of pit bull pages.
But you know what? That's a great way to get followers. I'm just saying, if you want to pimp the algorithm, put some cute puppies and cats. And that's a great way to pimp. Just saying. Just saying.
Let me put up a picture and see if it works.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, yes, you're not hearing Miss Sophia. We are sitting in for her. It takes a whole lot of men and women to sit in for her. It is George Daigle. I am sitting here in the driver's seat. It is Queen Sheba for real. For what is it?
For Atlanta.
For Atlanta.
For Atlanta.
Queen Sheba for Atlanta.
Queen Sheba for Atlanta, and the one and only Commissioner Gordon. You can see his conversations on the podcast real soon, but we'll be back right here in Club Chit Chat on WERUradio, the urban sound of pride. Come on, y'all. What did she say? Let's ride. It is Club Chit Chat right here on WERUradio, the urban sound of pride. Hood rat, hooch your mama. I guess if that's what you want, how you want to live your life, there you go. You've achieved success. Hood rat, hooch your mama.
No thanks, but I'll look on from afar.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're sitting in for the one and only Miss Sophia. She is out and about. She's got some great things happening this weekend. She's on the road. She's busting it wide open. As far as events goes, y'all know she's not that kind of chick. Don't look at me like that. She's going to be hosting a beauty pageant in San Antonio.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
How about
get flued out?
Right.
Right.
Right. Get flued. She is getting flued out, and then from there, she is going to be doing a grand opening of Traffic Brunch in New Orleans. So yeah, she's got a jam. She doing things. Y'all didn't know y'all had a celebrity.
Right.
Hello.
That's another word, celebrity.
Celebrity.
Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Queen Sheba and Commissioner Gordon are in the studio with me now. Queen, pew pew. I love it. I got to get that sound effect.
You do.
I need to get it. So I am he who does not know much about sports, but I know a good story when I read one. And there's a story in the news right now that the Timberwolves have been sold. The Minnesota Timberwolves have been sold for $1.5 billion.
Why is there a B at the end of that? Who's heard from the Timberwolves since 1983?
Well, that's the going rate for. It's like a house. Like when every house on the street is.
Well, they need a
getting
new foundation, some new restructuring.
But if you appraising the house, if the house next door sells for like $250,000 and the house across the street sells for $250,000, your house is probably worth going $250,000.
But okay, like she was pointing out, if the team hadn't done anything significant,
well, why not?
Won any rings, any
Which
championships.
is why they're being moved and sold and everything else.
Is probably why they're being sold. But to go on the story, like Minnesota's
trying to see basketball in Minnesota.
But Minnesota's a big basketball town, a big basketball state, I'll say. But there's a big push to move. Everyone wants to. So I can't remember what year it was. There was a push to move from Seattle. They took the team from Seattle to Oklahoma City. And for whatever reason, everyone has been trying to get a team back to Seattle as if it were New York, as if it were L.A., if it were Miami. And that's one of the moves I think that they're trying to make. Yes, Minneapolis, Minnesota is a small market, but it's one of those college-type atmospheres that it's small, but they fill up the stands. Those people are behind the Timberwolves 100%. But when you have high-profile owners such as Alex Rodriguez, it's only a matter of time. He doesn't want to live in Minnesota.
Where
has
is
no
he from?
interest.
Where does he live?
Well, he's a baseball player. He just got finished dating J-Lo.
Oh. Like recently, right now.
She left him to go back to Ben Affleck.
Right now?
Last month.
Yeah.
Back to Ben Affleck.
Yes.
Yep. Affleck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was playing for the Yankees. He played for the Texas Rangers. He's had contracts over $500 million in terms of just baseball. Just
not
baseball.
even talking about his endorsements
Not
or
his
anything.
endorsements. He's ventured out into television and done other things like that. I think he's hosting the show now.
What is J-Lo doing going back? We don't go back, J-Lo. We don't miss nobody. You ain't hear, what's his name? Moneybag Yo?
I ain't going back. Yeah,
we don't miss nobody.
So, but yeah, like he's a Hollywood celebrity. So there's nothing about him that says Minnesota.
Right.
So
not gonna be in
now
Right.
the fear is that
where would he move him to?
Yeah, where is he going to move him to?
You couldn't move him to L.A. because there's already
15 basketball teams there.
So it would be hard. Like I said, the only place you would go is Seattle, and that's just trying to get West Coast. But that's not a major market either. Like there's no real major market that is underserved in terms of basketball. There's 2 New York teams. You got Brooklyn and the Knicks. So there's no real market there.
No shade.
What about the Bay?
No shade. We need a winning team here in Atlanta.
But what are you going to do with that team?
Right.
If you're removing a whole franchise.
Send them to Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota.
You are not about to have the Atlanta Timberwolves here. We don't have any Timberwolves.
That would be taking a step backwards because the Atlanta Hawks are in the playoffs playing the New York Knicks.
Right now?
Yes.
Okay.
They lost. I'm not in the bubble.
They lost last, and this is the crazy thing. So Sunday night, the Atlanta Hawks
won by 2 points.
I
knew that.
And they villainized Trae Young, who's the Atlanta Hawks point guard. They were screaming. Like I said, Madison Square Garden finally opened up to 15,000 people. I think it was only like 2,500 before that all season. They were screaming "F you, Trae," all game.
Why?
Because they didn't want him to win.
It's New York.
It's New York. It's brutal. They haven't been out. They've been on lockdown in COVID since this.
And so they needed their team. They needed that win. They wanted that win.
And we're open, like you just said. We've been cooped up. New York has been one of the strictest lockdown.
Yeah.
New York and LA.
And now we're out here. And it's F.U. Trae. The whole crowd is F.U. Trae. Sunday he hits the game with it. He just turns and he shushes the crowd. And he goes on to, they ask, I think Shaq and Kenny, they asked him about it on the post-game show. He basically said they've been saying F you all game. Wow. I wanted them to keep saying F you after I hit the game winner. So they wound up, game 2 was last night. They lose game 2 by 9 points.
Here.
But it's still in New York.
Okay.
So they played the first 2 in New York.
I'm sorry. So they're out of this bubble in Miami. They're not playing in the bubble anymore?
No.
Oh, we're back in.
I told you they busted wide open, they busted wide open.
Yes.
Who got tickets? Who got tickets?
So they'll be here Friday. But when they got
who got tickets tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going.
When they got to New York, when they got back to New York for last night's game, there were pieces of paper on everyone's seat of what to chant at Trae Young, and they started chanting, "Trae is balding."
Wow.
He's like
petty.
22. Yeah. He's like 22 years old.
Petty LaBelle.
He's like a 22, 23-year-old kid. And if you look up, yes, he's got the curly hair and it's thinning. But to say Trae is balding is weak. But
that's premeditated slander.
It is. But
that's a federal offense.
Well, who put the paper out?
Ooh,
I'm sure
cameras.
they have promotions and people like that'll go out, and the PR people that control everything with you, like the same people who put out the little sticks that make all the little noise and put up the pictures and stuff.
But Trae is balding is not fair. That's not under the Fair Sportsmanship Act.
I was gonna say, and that has nothing to do with the game.
Nothing to do with the game.
Once again, as I just talked, we talked about this off air. There was a gentleman who literally, you could see him on television, pull his mask down in the second row and spit at Trae Young while he's taking the ball out.
Wow.
They've identified it. They've
so
zeroed in.
Did 50 Cent even react?
50 Cent was sitting in front of him. 50 Cent didn't know.
Oh, okay.
He was basically right over the young lady that 50 Cent was either sitting beside, not to say he was with her because I don't know, but he was sitting beside her.
Right.
And she had a little, how something might drop on you, but you have no idea what it is. Somebody might have spilled their drink. You don't know.
Right.
So she had like a little flinch, and that was about it. But he didn't know because I guess it didn't reach him.
Mm-hmm. But now once he sees it in the playback, it's about to go down.
Maybe. I mean, 50 Cent might not do anything,
Yeah.
But they've identified the gentleman, and they've banned him from Madison Square Garden.
Just banned him?
How are they going to know
ban,
if he comes back?
That's the good question, because if you and I are going to the game and I'm banned, I can just say, hey, can you order the tickets?
Yes.
Can you use your card? Because there's not going to be... There's no security guard with a camera up to your face looking at everybody like, oh, you're on the ban list.
Nobody's doing that.
Oh,
but don't they have facial recognition in these places?
In some areas.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that hard. At every point of entry, they could easily have his face right there on that stand. Just like when you're coming into the country, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's so many points of entry. There's his face. Oh, you can't come in.
Oh, you can't come in here.
Yeah,
you're not.
that would be hard. But what I'm concerned about is that they're not charging him with assault.
That's the next thing. I don't know who would make that charge. would Trey Young have to make that charge? Would the city of New York have to go ahead and say?
No,
okay.
Trey Young would say I was assaulted by,
And
and
that's
then
the
it would
thing.
have the videotape.
No, just like the organization can make a call if there is on someone that's in the game. Say
true.
yeah,
Attack.
yeah. On
Or
behalf of our player,
Right.
we're putting up a assault charge against this person that was in here because they assaulted our player. You know, you have lawyers that speak on their behalf all the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't even think like if for some reason you were assaulted, if there's a witness, I don't think you have to make the charge. Yeah, somebody else can make the charge for you.
Yeah, so
or on behalf of you.
Yeah, if you start doing that, you'll start seeing all of that. Because like the last time when the man and the husband and wife duo, I forgot who the player was, when they was throwing all the things slander at the player. Help me, boy, don't make me sound crazy.
LeBron James.
Yeah,
it was LeBron. It was here. It was LeBron James.
Why didn't I know his name? Sorry.
You don't know the king?
Well, but it goes back to I think it was 2004, and now we talked about Russell Westbrook. The dude threw all the popcorn on Russell Westbrook as he's hurt and limping back. It goes back to 2004 where they had the Malice in the Palace. In Detroit, there was a foul called. Ron Artest, now known as Metal World Peace, he's sitting, laying down on like the scores table. Someone, and the story comes out later that they made the bet, a $50 bet that I bet you can't hit him with your beer. They launched the beer, and I bet he couldn't have done it again if he had to. But launched the beer and hit him square in the chest as he's just laying back, waiting for the referees to make the decision: is it a foul or not?
Wow.
He looks up, and this is his words. He looks up and he says he realized who it was because you did something crazy. Like so the guy's got his hand in the air. He hops off the scores table. He goes up there and he goes to swinging. Not only does he go to swinging, his teammates run up. And now you have this big brawl, and the NBA, that was a black eye on the NBA forever, but they haven't done anything to stop it. Like they haven't. There's nothing to say. Oh, you're just banned from the arena. That doesn't stop you.
See, they need to put up those plastic things like they got in hockey.
Well, not only that.
They don't.
If you can call poor sportsmanship on the player, the fans can also have poor sportsmanship.
Why can't they should put that in the disclosure of the ticket?
Yeah,
they do, but
but there's no penalty,
right? Unless they are threatening you with jail time. There's nothing that
should be an announcement when they do the fair sportsmanship, blah blah blah, at the beginning of the game, and any and all fans who don't comply, you'll be removed immediately and taken to jail.
And see, they do that. They'll have like if you go to the Hawks game, they'll have like Ryan Cameron or whoever, and they have a big jumbotron. They'll have all the people saying, "Hey," and then the fair sportsmanship act, but they don't say jail. They will just say. You will be removed immediately.
So it's like, okay, I can be removed, still watching on my phone, still go home, buy another ticket, come
back. It's like the streaker at the game.
Yeah.
They're just going to arrest me. But I'm
still
still the
streaker.
streaker.
Get out.
Right.
Yeah.
That's still crazy.
I mean, in terms, and keeping it just real quickly, Kyrie Irving, they're playing tonight. Kyrie Irving joined forces with Kevin Durant, James Harden. He used to play in Boston with the Celtics. He jumped in front of it by saying, can we just keep it basketball? Because Boston is notorious for being racist. And they shout all kind of N-words and monkeys and do all kind of stuff.
Why did you buy the ticket to come to this game if that's how you feel?
But that's that's their joy.
Part of the culture.
Part of
their culture.
Part of their culture.
Not the NBA culture.
Right.
And that's what they say. I spent $500 on these seats. I should be able to say whatever I want to.
And the First Amendment.
And so everybody kind of joked at him like, we see Kyrie getting ahead of it, but it's a real thing that everyone who's either played for Boston or just gone through and you played in Boston, they'll tell you get some of the most racist comments that you've ever received anyplace else.
Yeah, but is that okay?
No, it's not okay at all.
Who's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, aren't they both from Boston?
Yes.
They need to say something. I mean, if that's their people.
Yeah.
If that's their people.
Well, I know Mark Wahlberg is from Boston also, but Mark Wahlberg.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry. I did not mean Matt Damon. I meant Mark
Wahlberg. But I know Ben Affleck is from Boston.
Yes, yes. Because
But-
every
but-
movie he makes is from there.
Basically. But Mark Wahlberg himself has been charged with a hate crime when he was like 19, 20 years
Oh,
old.
well,
Okay.
shit. Okay, well.
You know what I'm saying?
That's funny. We just missed
Right,
it.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
like, whoa, wait.
Yeah.
Oh, he was 19.
But I mean, but once again, we're talking about culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, how bad do you think it is if you grew up in it? Like,
Yeah, but if you know better, you do better, and he's well traveled now, so there is a difference. I mean, if he had only grew up in Boston and never left Boston and was like a banker in Boston, then maybe I can make that argument. But when you're well traveled and you've been around the world and you've had to interact with other cultures, you now know better.
well, I can say this to take it back. I mean, and we know social media. People won't let you. They won't let you grow.
No, they
Yeah,
won't.
they
Like-
won't. In matter of fact, Paris Hilton said that. She was like, they want you to be 21 forever.
Yes, people won't let
yeah.
you grow. They don't want you to see you advance. Every time I see Mike Vick on the television screen talking about anything,
The first
It's
thing
at
they bring up.
Pitbull's.
Yep. First thing they bring up.
first thing they bring up.
And that wasn't even him. It was like his cousin.
Yeah.
He just took the rap for his cousin for whatever reason.
Yeah, that was a crazy story.
That was a crazy story.
Well, speaking of this, let's take a break, and we got some more crazy stories. We are here sitting in for the one and only Miss Sophia in
Yes,
Club
indeed.
Chit Chat, baby. It is on WERUradio, the urban sound of pride. Queen Sheba and Commissioner Gordon are here, and we're waiting on some other folks. Clearly,
come on, show up now.
come on,
before
come
we
on. It is Club Chit Chat, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of chit chat, ladies and gentlemen.
lot of me.
Yes, yes, indeed. We have the Queen Sheba.
Queen Sheba for Atlanta. Follow me on IG, Board of Education Candidate 2021, Atlanta District 2, Seat 2.
A
Get
lot
ready.
of responsibility. Yeah, you get ready.
Yeah.
That's a lot of responsibility.
Y'all get ready.
No, you get ready.
I heard I get to fire the superintendent. No, that was just one of the general things they're saying. I was like, well, I get to fire the superintendent? I was like, I got to find out who the superintendent is and if he's worthy. I'm
Wow.
sitting there.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I don't envy you. I do not envy you. Do not
Yeah, that's
envy
gonna
you.
be a task.
That's gonna be a task. Yeah. Yeah. All I see is pull the chains off the doors. That's what I see. That's what I see. Commissioner Gordon is in the studio as well. Good
Yes,
afternoon, good
indeed.
sir.
Good afternoon.
Everything you want to know about sports.
How did you become a sports expert? Is it just you took it on? How did
Well-
you get your 50,000 hours?
So
And I wish you just look at our nice camera every
I'm
once in a
sorry.
while.
I'm
Just,
sorry.
just
I
every once in a
apologize.
while. Just every once in a while.
So what wound up happening? I was a pretty bad kid. Well, I mean, boys don't like
When's your birthday?
to read. June 7th. It's coming up.
Okay, Gemini. Bad kid. Okay, I got it. Go ahead.
So my parents would try to figure out, he's a smart kid, but he hates to read. I never liked to read anything. But I was playing sports. So my dad would try to figure out whatever. It's like, okay, you try these mystery novels. Hey, they would just sit there. Try detective, whatever, all this stuff. And I never read it. And so as I started to get like 12, 13 years old, and I'm starting to play more and more sports, he just handed me a newspaper one day because one of my friends that I was playing with was like a high school All-American. And so I'm reading the newspaper, watching, and I'm like, that's my guy. So he just the next day he'd bring me a newspaper. So now I'm relating to the players
Oh, good.
that I'm seeing. Because I'm growing up with a lot of these guys, and now I'm reading papers, and that's becoming like my thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Have you read The Mindful Athlete by George Mumford?
I have not.
Oh, you got to read that. It's so good. Every person that plays any sport in the world needs to read that. Even recreational, even weekend warriors, even adult athletes. Everybody needs to read it. It's on audiobook too, but read the book.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. But that became it. So I grew up. I started knowing all of like the stats and stuff like that, and it only blew my mind once I got into like radio that people that were actually working didn't know half the shit that I knew. And I'm feeding them lines, and I'm like, but you've been doing this for like 20 years. And so it got to a point where I was working at a sports radio station, and I'm talking to a guy, and he would literally take the things that I was saying during the break and then go live on the air,
Shut up.
repeat everything.
Shut
A friend of mine would call me, was like, you're producing the such and such show, right? And I was like, yeah, I can tell. And I was like, what do you mean you can tell? He was like, because everything that you believe and everything that you told me yesterday,
Wow.
he's saying it. And unless like you guys are in sync together, you're telling him what to say. And I was like, you know what? Yeah.
Wow.
And so when the pandemic happened, and my son is like, he's a young DJ. We can get to another story about him a little later, but he's a DJ, and I've been working with him to do stuff on his own. And so the pandemic hit, and he's like, you at home? Why don't you do what you're telling me to do? Like, why don't you start the podcast?
Hello, Dad.
Right.
Hello, Dad.
Right.
Like
right.
you can make money from home. You can do all these things too. And I'm like, oh, you know what? You're right.
So now, do you find that because you were engulfed in all of this, that's another word, engulfed in all of this, information about sports, reading the papers, knowing about the sports, knowing the little facts, and being in a position where you were producing a show, did you find your knowledge a little bit intimidating to those who were called the experts?
Sometimes.
Proclivities.
Proclivities.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Sometimes some people shied away from me or would try to minimize my role. So I worked with it was a predominantly white station. And what he would want me to do would be, he would want me to do like comedy skits. And then because whatever the topic would be, let's say it's we're going to do a skit about a guy throwing popcorn on in the crowd. He would try to make me be the angry black guy in the skit. I'm writing, helping him write the skit. But when it comes out and we got to do it together, I want you to be the angry, hey man, what got to do that.
Right. Wow. So you
I don't think that's okay.
Well, yeah. No, I don't think so either.
When I was in undergrad, I was interning at Channel 4/13, which is the station that Oprah was on in Norfolk, Virginia. And they always sent me to the murder scene, the robbery, the break-in. I'm like, can I cover the poet laureate? I mean,
right. But isn't that your people? I mean, you understand their language.
you know how to get there, right? You just like,
or they'll hit you with the Sam doesn't feel comfortable going out there.
Sam, wow. You better Sam. I'm using Sam from now on.
Right.
Sam and Karen.
Sam
and Karen are married.
Oh my God! Please don't call me Karen. It's triggering.
I love that. I don't know who started the Karen versus the Becky. I guess the Becky is supposed to be the white girlfriend.
Yes, the white thought.
The white thought, right? And then Karen is the corporate. I love it.
Right.
Oh my God, the
so we
white
got
thought.
Karen, Becky, and
Sam. Yes.
That sounds like one of those books you read when you were a little kid.
Yes.
Here is Karen, and Becky is
and
friends
Sam.
with Karen, and Becky and Karen are friends with Sam. Yeah, okay.
So we were talking about reality shows off the air, and so I'm going to be in an LGBT reality show.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
Yes, it's called Women in the Life, and there's a billboard up for it in Buckhead already.
Oh, wait. I know somebody who else is well, I don't want to say.
I don't know who was in it at all.
Oh, well, I'm not going to tell you then.
Yeah, well, I haven't signed any ink. Let's say that. So hopefully, probably, maybe. Let's use those words.
Okay.
Hopefully, probably, maybe.
Okay.
I will be in this. I've had 2 interviews. They called me back right away. I've been helping them find people. And I'm like, hold on. I need a contract, something. I'm like, you ain't gonna use me to help you find people, and then I get kicked off the first season,
I was getting ready to say,
sir.
Is that a production check also?
I'm an associate producer on there. I said, hello. So anyway. I haven't heard from them. But hopefully, probably, maybe. So I'm going to be in this reality show. And it's so funny. I was telling you about my rich brother. My brother does real estate for everybody, for people like me, you, but his is the crux of his we don't want to call them members. Clientele are millionaires. And so... And he has a bag collection for your ass. And he was like, oh, well, you can use my bags and, wear some of my diamonds. And I'm like, okay. Because I'm just like, unfortunately, it was already brainwashed into like how I'm supposed to look for this reality show. Like my look is, 60s kind of pin up, whatever. And he was like, oh, well, you can wear my diamonds and you can wear my furs and you can wear my bags. And I'm like, okay, because I don't have shit. I mean, I might have.
But you know what? Stop, because here, and this is
what we're talking
great
about, right?
point. Yes, it's a great point, because if it's a reality show, why create
a false reality?
False reality. Yeah, be yourself. And okay. I know that everybody has to have a storyline. Yeah, I get it. You got to have this great storyline. But why can't the storyline just be you? Just be you, the 60 mod chick who's smart,
You know what?
who's running for, school board. That's
But does that sell?
Does that sell enough?
If you're talking to the guy across the table.
I said that. I said, if I have to fight somebody, I'm not doing it. I said, one, I'm going to lose. I'm a softie, right? I'm not doing it. I'm just going to run away. And I was like, oh, if I walk in on my person that's dating, they're going to be, having sex with somebody else. I'm going to be like,
you gotta
dog,
snatch
I'm
some
40. I'm like, yeah, I got to snatch him. I'm not snatching no hair off. And then so he was like, and then she was like, Then she was like, well, you're not going to have to fight, but there is going to be some conflict, but we're going to work on resolution. She was like, but you do got to throw one glass of wine, though. I said, oh, my God.
Yeah.
They were like, that's
in the contract?
No, it's not in the contract. She was just being funny, but it's like, that's the rite of passage for being in reality shows, to throw a glass of wine.
I always said I would never do
turnover table.
I would never do a reality show. But if I did, I think I would end up being that voice of reason.
That's what I was thinking.
I would be that person that's like, yo. And I'm a cuss a couple of times because I'm a cusser.
Yeah.
But I think, y'all don't have to do this. Talk it out.
Yeah.
It ain't about all that fighting.
Yeah,
because
I
at the
think
end
I
of the
wanted
day,
to be the
all you're
voice
going to
of
have
reason.
is bruises, and y'all will have no resolution. Y'all going to be mad and beefing for what when y'all could have worked it out like grown-ass people.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me say this very vulnerably. I don't know why I get vulnerable on this show, but I was having a little bit of imposter syndrome because as a spoken word artist, because yes, I'm starting on my new political career, that will take my life into a different direction. But as a spoken word artist, it doesn't always equate to our accomplishments. Don't always equate on paper, if that makes sense. Yeah. And so a singer who's like, oh, I've won a Grammy and I've done this and then that. And I'm not saying always. More often than not, singers, rappers, whatever, their bank account and living conditions sometimes match. I want to be very careful. Sometimes maybe match, right? Depending on their level of responsibility. But as a spoken word artist, it rarely does. And so I'm concerned, not that the busyness of my life wouldn't be interesting. And
glamour.
Huh?
The glamour
is not necessarily there. And so I'm a little concerned about that. And maybe I'm concerned because I don't see myself on the outside looking in. You know what I mean?
But and again,
I definitely have the personality
your
for
personality. I think that when you walk on screen and you command the screen, because let's take a Nene Leakes, for example, who was not the most glamorous on that first season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's be clear.
Right. Yeah.
She kind of grew into that, and then still that's questionable. No hate on her. But her personality is what made everybody gravitate to her.
Right.
So without all the zhuzh, without all the ambiance, without all the accoutrement, that's another word.
Right.
Without all of that, can you walk on that camera and say, here I am, and I have a reason to be here, and this is why you need to watch for me.
Right. Gotcha.
Now it's cute to have a cute bag.
Yeah. I mean, let me clear that up. I got my own little stuff. It's just that I got my own little, bags and designer stuff like that. But I was concerned, especially after watching that hour-long clip. I was telling them off air that I got wrapped up into an hour-long wrap-up reel,
like
a recap reel of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and I was like, oh shit, like they're really, I got a couple Louboutins, I got a couple little stoles, I got a couple little bags, but I'm
stoles that aren't stole, ladies and gentlemen. We
stoles that aren't stolen, right? And I want to represent the spoken word culture too. I don't want people to be like, oh, that's whack, but I'm not whack, first of all. So there's that, and I do have a lot going on. So I mean, I knew it when I sent in the tape that I was a good personality for it. And then I think I did just get, taken aback a little bit when I saw the recap reel. And I was like, of Love and Hip Hop. And I was just like, okay.
You don't know if it be that chick. Well, we're gonna take a break because we got to pay these bills. But we're gonna come back. Matter of fact, we'll take a break earlier in the next hour. Because I want to talk about that reality, especially in Atlanta. It's a huge.
What is your reality?
It's a huge enterprise.
Yes.
And let's talk about reality. And is your reality enough?
Right.
And what is reality?
And are you enough? Yes. Do you think you're enough?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Club Chit Chat. Sophia, I don't know where you are if you're listening. I hope we're doing you justice. We got a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of chit chat and more of it right here on WERUradio, the urban sound of pride. It is Club Chit Chat on WERUradio, the urban sound of pride. Brand new music from Busta Rhymes and Mariah Carey, Where I Belong. It sounds like they just picked up right where they left off.
What? I was going to say brand new.
Yes, brand new. Exactly. It sounds like the other
like
song.
1998.
Yeah, no, it's brand new. Brand new stuff. They are back together again. And speaking of being back together again, we are here in the studio with the one and only Queen Sheba.
Queen Sheba for Atlanta, District 2, Seat 2 for the Board of Education. Please follow my Instagram page, Queen Sheba for Atlanta. And you can make your donations.
Make your donations. And Commissioner Gordon
Commissioner Gordon
is in the house. We're having some interesting conversations. So let's get it crunk. We're talking about relationships. And myself and Gordon are married. He's married to a woman. He's straight, ladies and gentlemen, just in case y'all
How
looking.
did you get your name, Commissioner Gordon?
Well, I'm named after my grandfather. My name is Gordon Robinson.
And the commissioner part?
And the commissioner part just kind of fell into place where with sports.
Okay.
And the Commissioner Gordon.
Commission.
Right. And then the Commissioner Gordon is the character in Batman.
That's what I thought. I was like, boy, that name sounds familiar.
Right. He's the character in Batman, but I just turned it and made it work for me.
For basketball.
Yeah, but I tell you, it's horrible for Google. Because when
right. Well, and that's the thing. And
so
I
the
came
Batman
up with
guy comes up all the time?
my Instagram is like at @the.commissioner.gordon. I tried all of the combinations, and it all came up like cartoon memes. Could have just done ATL, but it came up like all kind of Batman memes, all kind of people who just cosplay, want to dress up like Batman. I was like, my goodness.
Yeah. So whenever because I was I like to Google for images. Sometimes just like to get a different image. I'm like, this algorithm messing him up. It's messing him up. But we were talking off the air about relationships, past relationships, things we've done, things we've accepted, things we saw, things we shouldn't have said or done or allowed. And we have some unique experiences. Now, like I was saying before, I am married, and Gordon is married.
And I'm recently out of a 7-year partnership with a woman, and I'm a Leo, so I have really long relationships. I'm super loyal, but within that, I was don't like to use the word victim at all. I was experiencing narcissist abuse, and I didn't know it until like the end. It was like, but it was interesting when I began learning about narcissist abuse. I was like, oh my God, this is what happened. Oh my God, this is what happened. Oh my God, this is what happened. And a lot of it is because it's so hard to explain. It's hard to get support from your friends, family, etc. And the biggest thing, and it's the longest kind of abuse to get over. And this is a bad example, and I apologize in advance for using this example, but this is how I've been explaining it. If you're in what you think is a healthy relationship, and say you just start dating, me and Commissioner Gordon just start dating, right? And I'll use me instead of you, and say I hit him, right? It is easier for someone to leave because of that immediate physical abuse, like, oh, you hit me, I'm out, right?
Right.
Than a long, drawn out battle with your self-esteem, questioning, gaslighting. This didn't happen. I didn't say that. It gets to the point where you I started having to record every time we were in a room together, because I'd be like, I know I said such and such. And not because of physical abuse. This is not a physical abuse situation. This is just like conversations and twisting things around and making,
I didn't say that.
I didn't say that. And
or you heard that wrong.
Or you heard that wrong, or it's about you, or I'm not cheating. And then I realized that I had been experiencing infidelity for 3 years. 3 years, and just all the mind-blowing things. And then how she expected me to be over it so quick and get back to work with her even though we're broken up. What?
Well,
no.
It sounds like, in I want you to continue, but it sounds like that has been her experience, where infidelity was accepted in past relationships or overlooked.
And she saw it with her parents. She sees it with her brother and sister. Her brother and sister have been completely, what's the proper conjugation to this? Completely infidel to each other. I don't know. How am I trying to say? They've experienced infidelity with each other since the beginning of their relationship.
Yeah, and uncommitted.
Yeah. Right. And that's the issue that I had with her. She was always 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I was like, and it was never commitment. It was an accountability. The accountability was at zero. And one of the signs for those of you who are listening and think you might be experiencing narcissistic abusive, if you are in the part of your relationship where you are saying to yourself, I wish we could go back to, you are in a narcissistic abusive relationship, because a healthy relationship continues those healthy patterns of let's date, let's go out, let's communicate. You cannot have a conversation with a narcissist. They are only trying to be right. They don't care about what you feel. Narcissists interrupt you all the time. And narcissism isn't just people taking selfies. Please understand that. Look it up. It's way deeper than that. They just have zero empathy about anything that you're doing. And once they find the thing another thing about narcissists, another big thing is once you pillow talk them, like I trusted this person. I trusted I did. I thought I did. Certainly. And I would pillow talk gossiping with your bedfellow is a completely different thing than gossiping with your homegirl. Certainly. And it's like, I'm telling you things just to kind of dump on my day. And then you're like, that's why none of your friends like you. Wait, what?
What?
Oh, wow, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh. This is why your friends are talking about you. First of all, if my friends are talking about me to you they're not my friends.
Right.
They are not my friends.
And if you feel comfortable enough to make that statement to me, then you're definitely not my helpmate. You're not my partner, because you are complicit in that conversation.
I have cut off anybody who has been saying to me, and technically it's only been 5 months, right? But that I knew about. But according to the narcissist experience that I was having, my ex had checked out 2 years ago. About 2 years ago in July, and I didn't know that because of all the mixed signals. Certainly. And when I'm reading all this literature about narcissism, it's like, if you are getting mixed signals, that means no, leave. Mixed signals mean no.
So did any of your other friends know, like, yeah, she told us like it wasn't going to work a long time ago? Or
no, that came out later. That came out after I'll just call it an explosion. It's a hard situation. I talked about this last time because she currently has cancer. So it's hard for me as a loving person. And I'm not infallible. I'm not saying I didn't make mistakes. And I also want to say what I said the last time is that I responded horribly to her abuse. But what narcissists do is then turn your response to their abuse around and say, now you're the problem. You're the abuser.
Yeah. Well, I want to stop for a second, because there was a point where you realized where you were in that relationship.
Call me on it. I'm ready.
And there was a point where you saw it. You saw the train coming, but you're like, it's not going to hurt as bad because I see it and I can prepare myself for it. I kept
saying to myself, which I am definitely admitting to having low self-esteem at those points of my life. I definitely said to myself, I must be doing something wrong. I must be doing, if I do. And I always, when you start to operate, if A equals B, then she'll be nicer to me. A never equals B with a narcissist. It just doesn't. You could be like, oh, well, if I'm good, and that's what I kept saying. I'll be good. I'll be better. I'll do this. I won't burn the chicken. I'll make sure not to put ice in your water. I won't put tomatoes on your sandwich. When you start doing that, you are in a narcissistic, emotionally abusive, neglectful relationship.
Now, and I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist, but I want to stay right there for a second, because there is a reason somewhere in your past, some of the things that you experienced, that you thought that was the way to negotiate that abuse. You sat there and said, okay, I'm going to filter this, and this is the best way to get through this issue. This is the best way to negotiate, so next time I can avoid this type of behavior.
Because what happens is, and this is what was interesting to read too, because have you ever had a friend or anyone that you were watching from the outside that was completely one way to one person and completely another way to a different person? So that's what narcissists do. And so they would so I was being completely abused, like literally in somebody's face. Like if you were sitting there and she was sitting in the middle and I was sitting on the right, she'd be like, shut the bleep up. What's up? What? Really? The basketball game? Literally like that.
Wow.
And then
That's
was
crazy.
told, you better not act out. You better not say nothing. You better not, because if you do, you're always causing a scene. You're always. That's why I don't take. That's why I don't take you anywhere.
Stay there for 7 years?
Because my thought process the other thing that I was getting to is that narcissists or abusers aren't always abusive. Right? And so there's always that glimmer of hope or that moment where there was magic or that time that you made love and you're like, oh, well, if I can get back to that, well, if I could create this euphoria again, then we won't have to go back here. And it just never goes back. Once they realize that they have some sort of trigger or hold on you, they just keep pressing the button and seeing how far they can go. During the end of our relationship in January, she had told.
So this is recently.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
this was recent. So during the end of our relationship in January, she had finally started telling people like, "Oh, I had checked out a year and a half ago. Okay, so why am I taking you to your cancer treatments?
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay, so why am I helping you raise money for you want to go to Switzerland and get this other cancer treatment after your surgery? I'm sorry. Why are we using my card? Like, I didn't know we had checked out. Why are you calling me your partner to your doctors?
That's the narcissism.
That's the narcissism.
Wow.
That's I'm going to use you as long as you allow me to. And then, so to anybody who's mad at me or angry or whatever, I had to rip the Band-Aid off and I was hurt, distraught, crying, but I never reached out as much as I wanted to call one. And then the way to starve a narcissist is zero contact.
Of course. Yeah.
Zero.
Because they never have a chance to make it about them.
Right, exactly. And then, so we had a business together that is dissolving at this point down to just a piece of paper. And we're still filling out some grants and stuff for it just to be able to pay some of our contract employees, et cetera, right? So that's all I took. And check this out. I'm gossiping about myself. She had never came home after her surgery, lived somewhere else, but refuses to get off the lease, re-signed the lease, got a key. I mean, still has a key and comes to pick up her mail whenever. And she came over just recently this past Monday, but I'm in a place now where I can have a conversation that's not emotional. I'm not crying, screaming, throwing things. And the next day I got an email that was like, I really appreciated our time. I'll get you the money for the taxes. I completely ignored I appreciated our time and just said, okay, great. Deposit the money for the taxes when you get it. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going down that route.
Yeah, because that's all that was like, okay.
A bait. It's a bait.
It's
a bait.
Yeah.
Are you going to open the door?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. And you know, I'm just not. I'm not doing it. And so so the conversation off line when we were off air was the person that I kind of dated for 30 days in between. And I was attracted to her at first, right? But she did some creepy stuff. And I had invited her to Dallas and we both were naked. And I had told her I'm not trying to have sex until I'm in a relationship. I've had sex with 17.28 million people. I love having sex. I'm a Leo. I'm great at sex. I love it as an exercise. It's one of my love languages, but I don't want to do that. I'm not ready. I'm not in that place.
You know that's not a love language, right?
I don't care.
Okay, all right.
Okay, yeah, it is. It's M&Ms, Oreos, and sex are my love language. She put her mouth on my breast, and after that, it was I just was like, no. And so some people would say, well, you were naked in the bed with her. It doesn't matter. No means no. And we had that conversation, and after that, the energy changed, and I just couldn't do it. On top of that, she barely broke out her wallet. All the dates were my ideas. She never invited me on a formal date. I took her to the ballet, invited her to Dallas. She did pay for her own plane ticket. I'm not saying I flew her out there, but I was like, hey, come to Dallas. Come to this thing I'm doing. She decided to come to that. Took her to the ballet. Took her to a party that another one of my friends was having, and she even said, oh, that's not a date. I said, you know what? I see narcissistic traits in this person. I didn't say this to her, but as I'm, learning and growing stronger and reclaiming my power and, making life about me right now, it's like, I'm not going to deal with another potentially narcissistic situation where I'm grappling for adoration and affirmation, and I'm not doing it.
You know what? I want to put a pin in this, but what I hear are two words, and you may not even recognize it, and I may be wrong. So a therapist, if I'm wrong, call me and let me know. But you have what I would consider hero syndrome.
Ooh.
You pick out people
Ooh.
that you already know need to be saved, and you put yourself in a situation that you know is not really 100% healthy.
Because I'm resourceful.
But if I can, if I can point them in a different direction, if
They'll
I can
appreciate
show them appreciation, maybe they will change. And
that may be.
Just so reflect on that for just a minute.
That might be.
Thank you for coming to the show today.
There you go.
And that might have to do with my abandonment issues because I'm an adopted child. I was in 3 foster homes, and relationships end, and I didn't have coaching as a young adult to tell me, hey, relationships might end. I was dating people in my 20s. I thought we were going to be married and on the porch until I was 87, and nobody told me.
And I'm telling you this because that is me, or was me. That was me. I'm telling. I was Captain Save-A-Ho for years, and I knew I used the whole word "ho" literally.
And my rich brother Bray, who I was telling you about earlier, he was like, and he's also a Leo, but he's more self-assured and self-aware. He was like, you got to cut them off faster. And so this is what I've learned with the person that I dated for 30 days. Within this, I was like, nope, gotta go. Peace out. But now I'm uncomfortable every time I see her. But and luckily we didn't have sex. Luckily we weren't intimate, and it's bearable to be around her now. But it's still uncomfortable. Like, you're weird. And the other thing that narcissists do, or narcissist victims don't do, is talk about it or expose a person, because we're like, oh, well, that was just the experience they had with me, so maybe I shouldn't expose them and put on social media that this creepy swimmer lady put her mouth on my breast. Oh, yes, you should. Yes, you should.
Yeah.
Yes, you should.
Certainly. Yeah.
Well, every action
has a reaction.
And if it's a negative one, it deserves a consequence.
Yeah.
I mean,
come on now.
So
yeah,
a lot of times, like you said, if you're a person, because I'm a private person, I don't like talking about a whole lot of private life stuff, especially to a public. But if something's happened, you don't have to hold that inside, and you don't have to say, oh, well, it just happened to me, or it's nobody's business. Because then that's like letting them off the hook.
Yes, yes, it is letting them.
And they don't learn the lesson.
And that's what narcissists do. They're like, don't tell anybody about this. Don't go run into your friends. Your friends can't help us. And then I told my ex, I was like, you need to go to therapy for the PTSD that you have from your first girlfriend. They were together for like 13 years.
Shit, it sounds like you got PTSD.
I do. And then talking about I want a wife. Everybody in the show like, no,
not yet,
girl.
Not ma'am.
I'm not. I was about to DM you, but I'm not now.
It's George Daigle. It is Queen Sheba. It is Commissioner
Queen
Gordon.
Sheba for Atlanta.
I'm learning Queen Sheba. She got a new last name. See.
Yeah, Queen Sheba FOR Atlanta on IG.
Yes, indeed. It's all right here on Club Chit Chat on We Are You Radio, the urban sound of pride. Let's ride. It is Club Chit Chat on We Are You Radio, the urban sound of pride. Good afternoon. We're getting ready to go into happy hour, ladies and gentlemen. And if you are new to Club Chit Chat, let me first tell you, Club Chit Chat is the place where you can get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, some humor, some laughter. But during happy hour, y'all know how your grandmama said it. During happy hour, everything is legal. So if you want a get you a little drinky drink, get you a little smoke, get you a little pill, whatever it is, just make you a little happier during happy hour, it is completely legal right here in Club Chit Chat. So get ready for that. I know y'all like that. I know y'all do. But in the meantime, my hostess and hosts in the studio, Queen Sheba for Atlanta. I knew I was gonna get it eventually. And Commissioner Gordon is in the house with me, and the man who they told him to come at 3 o'clock, but he thought at 3 o'clock tomorrow. But he's just in time. Y'all know how we do. You know how we do. Introduce yourself, sir. Go ahead and speak directly into the mic and tell us who you is and who you are.
Hey, how y'all doing? My name is Tommy Bottom. I am a spoken word artist, producer, playwright here in the city of Atlanta. And we have an event tonight called Origin Stories. And just to give you a little background on that, a little more, I've been in the art scene here for a couple of decades now, and been able to do a lot of traveling and meeting a lot of cool people and along the way, and a lot of them become friends and almost family and stuff. So through that, you hear a lot of stories beyond what you see. Everybody has what they do on the stage, and then you have who people really are beyond that 15, 20 minutes, you know what I mean? And one of the things, a lot of these people are really, really talented people in their own right and have done a lot of amazing things. Might not necessarily be mainstream on whatever, but definitely have made a mark and an impact. And I see a lot of these people. If you look in the art community, I like to look at it as a community of brilliant misfits. You know what I'm saying? You have all of these people from all different types of backgrounds, and for whatever reason, they find themselves in this community here. You know what I'm saying? And they, a lot of times, this is where they find their brilliance. You know what I'm saying? Corporate America isn't what maybe did it. Some people are former drug dealers. Some people are ex-cons. Some people are battered wild. Whatever it is, this community of misfits kind of ends up here, and they get to share their talents. And sometimes some of them really shine bright. You know what I mean? And I like to look at those people as superheroes. And with every superhero, they have an origin story. And that moment when they realize I'm a mutant, I'm not here, and I'm not like everybody else. I have this special power, and I gotta save the world, but I got bills to pay. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So by night you put on the cape, but in the daytime you're
who,
Clark Kent.
Who's Clark Kent?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
right.
who is, what is the story? And that also, when you look at Clark Kent and who Superman was, Clark Kent was always Superman.
Right.
It's not a costume. His costume
Was Clark Kent.
is Clark Kent. And I'm pretending, in order to me to blend in, I have to pretend to be like how I see y'all.
Right.
Weak and unsure of yourselves. You see what I'm saying? That's who Clark Kent was. He had to, because I'm Superman still.
Right.
But in order to blend in with how I view the humans, I have to see I act weak and unsure of myself.
So the origins of all of these creatives who are super powered at whatever it is that they do.
Those moments in life, when and because just speaking specifically with Sheba, I was just telling a minute ago, she's kind of the prototype for this idea that I even had, and it's really about like I was saying, sharing that the beautiful struggle with people. You know what I mean? Really showing what that is. We were just talking the other day, and and she had mentioned something about it's hard being Queen Sheba sometimes. You know what I mean? That's and what that means is it is difficult to wear that cape. You know what I mean? And I think it's a time that we acknowledge and share. It's kind of, I won't take credit for this idea because I think it's been an overall kind of theme we've seen over the last couple of years of sharing flowers now. You know what I mean? If you look at shows like the Drink Champs and other shows, it's about let's acknowledge these people and the things that they have done now, because they've done great things, and let's acknowledge them now and speak of them and give them their flowers while they're here.
So now, is this something that they'll be able to see online, on TV?
Absolutely. What we're going to be doing is we'll film it, and we'll do some editing and put it together real sweet, but it'll go online and the page and everything. But what we're also trying to create is because I'm going to do this with several other people, but an atmosphere of just something else to do, because what I like to look at it as Actor Studio meets Drink Champs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you watch Actor Studio before, it's kind of like the students are sitting there listening to the masters kind of share their stories. Well, also, we're also
Keep talking. Go ahead.
We'll also be, indulging in some spirits while we do that as well.
What kind of spirits, sir?
Well, what we'll be doing is complimentary wine, and
okay.
But we're going to be doing a featured whiskey called Uncle Nearest. And Uncle Nearest, which is I picked that particular whiskey for a particular reason. You've all heard of the brand Jack Daniels.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, Uncle Nearest was the slave who taught Jack Daniels.
Yes, I did hear that story. Yeah.
And
that's
now
a good
getting
origin
his flowers.
story. Yeah.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of that theme of like, a lot of people have done a lot of great things who may not have been recognized as far, maybe Queen Sheba, she's on Grammy albums and all that, so she might not be the perfect, you know what I mean? But my point is, you see a lot of greatness in the city of Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? And I've traveled a lot of places, and this seems to be a hub of a lot of organic, just raw talent, and within all that, you have a few people who stand out, among a lot of greats.
Now, about how many episodes do you plan on having?
Well, I have in my mind right now, I want to bang out the first 10. So, and then, because I still, like I was telling Sheba just a little bit ago, like, this is the prototype. Like, I have an overall idea, but I know sometimes these things have to grow into their own thing. So I have my first 10 interviews I already have what I want to do, and then I'm going to see what I want to do from there. But I want to get a solid 10 banged out where you get, because every one I might discover something different, something,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to limit it, because it's something I just, it didn't occur to me just like out of the blue. It's something I've been thinking about, but it's also something I know that also can grow in it. I don't have to, I'm in a position where I don't have to make this crack today. You know what I mean? So it's something I want to, explore, because these are some interesting people. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were just working on this documentary, or are working on the documentary, I should say. And what we started off, the story, and where we're at now is, not even the same ballpark. You know what I mean? Because the story starts building itself, and you can't limit it from what you say. I'm going to be stringent in saying this is what I started with, and I'm going to stick with this.
I think it's an a very interesting concept that could easily turn into a series, because when you talk about the origin stories of heroes, those heroes are not just creatives, they're teachers,
Absolutely.
they're police officers,
Absolutely.
they're
Absolutely.
Politicians,
Right.
Absolutely.
advocates, activists.
Because I also, although my area expertise is in the arts, I also have a lot of other people who, within those 10 people who are outside of the art, a couple of radio personalities, some people who are in politics and stuff. But think people who, who, like I said, are doing things in the city or even, in beyond, but just people I've been able to, build a relationship, whether it's, first person or just through the networking of it all, you know what I mean? So that's like I said, what you were just saying too, that's why I have this 10, but I've definitely taken that into consideration.
Certainly. All right, we're going to take a break. And Tommy Bottoms. Ooh, Jesus Christmas. I ain't gave you a new name, sir. Tommy Bottoms is here in the studio with us at last. We get ready to go into happy hour, and we're going to get real happy and get into some more stuff, some more, maybe some spoken word. I don't know. We're going to get a little performance or what, but you never know, because it's Club Chit Chat, a little bit of this and a little bit of that right here on WERUradio, the urban sound of pride. It is Club Chit Chat. Welcome to Happy Hour, ladies and gentlemen. It is right here on WERUradio, the urban sound of pride. Pride, blah. I already started drinking. I ain't gonna lie. Prime. Optimus Prime. Blimes and Gab with Shelley's. It's chill right here on the WERU morning. Fuck.
Whoa.
I mean, it's happy hour. Just go with it, George. Just go with it.
Whoa.
I have in the studio. Yeah, I'm fired.
Yeah, no, you got to put 25 cents in the jar.
Okay, all right. We have Tommy Bottoms here in the studio today. Queen Sheba for Atlanta.
Queen Sheba for Atlanta, District 2, Seat 2, School
Wait,
Board.
I just got
Atlanta.
for Atlanta now.
Okay,
Come on now.
Okay, you got to get the whole thing. Queen Sheba for Atlanta, Seat 2, District 2, Board of Education.
Yeah, word to your mother. And and Commissioner Gordon is also in the studio today. You got anything you need to add to your name, Commissioner?
Just at the.commissioner.gordon on Instagram. Check me out.
All right. And everybody's seen you eat your salad on camera. Just so you know. Yeah. So you know, you getting his. We were talking about some interesting things off camera. And one of the things is a show is happening tonight, and we were talking earlier with Mr. Bottoms. Is it Mr. Tommy? Because Mr. Bottoms is just don't ring like Tommy Bottoms. So we're just gonna say Tommy. Is that okay? Can I do that? All right,
I
Tommy.
just think of a hairy butt when I think of Mr. Bottoms.
It sounds cartoonish, Mr. Bottoms.
Yeah. Mr. Bottoms.
Mr. Bottoms. But Tommy was talking about an interesting show that probably could go in a whole lot of different directions. It's Origins of heroes, origins of. I liked how you did the whole Marvel thing. Like, okay, somebody I could watch Superman with and not feel like dumb. Because he had the whole mutant power. And I was like, oh, he into this. He taught this thing out. So tell us, because it's going to happen tonight. And I would love to hear more about it. So talk to us.
So, yeah, we're going to be doing it at a place called the Sanctuary Art Asylum over in Kirkwood. And it's a art gallery, art space, event space.
I'm glad you said where it was, because everybody I showed the flyer to, they were like, where's Howard Street? Because it sounds like a DC street.
Actually, the way the actual address is on Locust Street. But it's one of those things. If you put GPS in there, you'll never find it.
Gotcha.
You'll never find it. So 260 Howard Street is like the other. Because it's in the neighborhood.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's a neighborhood street.
Okay. Okay.
But it's an art gallery, event space, and as they're curating the type of events, it's definitely geared towards the arts, and building a place where we can experiment with different things like this, you know what I mean, and still do other things like Abyss is doing his acoustic garden.
I'm so glad that's back.
And but just a space that people can take some ideas and just build on them, and it's almost like a residency, but you know what I mean, something you could just say, okay, it ain't gonna necessarily make them money. Although, if we can make a couple dollars, but like you said, let's work on something and let's see where that goes. But like I said, we're doing that
almost sounds
tonight.
like a fringe festival. Like, I'm gonna put some things together and
like last night they had Still Life with my man Alan Grimes, which is what they have basically nude models.
Wait a minute, ain't nobody told me about no nude models.
Yeah, nude models, and they
that
have
sounds
people
very
in there.
artistical right there. Very artistical.
Absolutely. Hey, the female body, work hard. Work hard.
Hello.
It was just the famales. It was just famales. It wasn't no males.
They probably do. I think it's mostly females, but I think they do though.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's all right. That's okay.
But they but it's people in there sketching, taking doing photography, and sipping wine and whatever else.
Okay, cool.
Whatever else.
Not like that, but
It's Queen Sheba for Atlanta. The views and expressed by Tommy Bottoms are not going on my campaign trail.
Half of Atlanta is 420 friendly now.
Yeah. Everybody loves.
We were asking, do I have to stop selling my infused cookies on the campaign trail?
I mean, hey, if there's ever a time to push that envelope, it's
I don't know.
Infused cookies for education?
I mean,
What helps with anxiety?
I mean, it's almost mainstream. you know, it's more mainstream now that I can ever remember in my lifetime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't. It's not.
Well, you know what? We're in happy hour, and I'm so glad you brought
Yeah.
this subject up. I am probably the only person in this room. I'm speaking for myself. I don't know, but I have never, ever smoked weed. And in my older age, I can't wait till I'm in a position. I just want to give me like a big old bag or big old cookie or whatever and just feel what that feels like, because everybody talks about it solves your anxiety or it makes you feel good, whatever. I just want that, because it's like, what
You
am I
got to be
missing?
careful about your strands, who you getting it from these days with farm. Some I heard, you know, makes you twirl around and you're happy and wonderful, and others I heard makes you lose days of your life.
No, I don't want that. I just want to feel euphoric. I want to feel creative.
You want a sativa?
Oh, yeah, huh? Yeah, what's her name?
Sativa.
Sativa. That's my cousin, though. Yes, I know Sativa.
Janae Aiko has a song called Sativa.
Oh, see, Jenny Aiko would. She would. Now, so there's different strands. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, just in case you didn't know, you're about to get a whole education on the 420. So sativa is the one that makes you feel creative.
Creative, productive, up, awake, aware, but you still have a euphoric feeling of floating and relaxation. Indica, however, you're in a coma for like a week.
Okay. All right. So you can't mess with that Nika. You can't mess with that Nika.
Yeah. I hadn't.
Some, you know, and some people they smoke to go to sleep. You
Right.
know what I mean?
So that's a different one too?
Yes, definitely.
Because they want it so they can wind my day down and knock out.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Gordon, you got kids. You can't talk about it. I got you.
He got kids. I'm on a campaign trail. We just giving our opinion.
Yeah,
you were educating. See, you were already doing your job. You are doing your job. See.
What I will say though is it does everybody different. Not only with strands, like every body type is different with everything. So
Weight, height, blood type.
Right.
And you could become a weed junkie too. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, some people take it.
Is that
too
really
far.
a thing? Because
Creepy girl turned into a weed junkie. She gained weight, got fat.
who's that?
The creepy girl.
Oh,
30 days.
the creepy girl. The 30
30
days. 30-day date.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get back to the show. That's gonna happen tonight. The origins. Now that we got a little short education on sativa, I'm gonna have to remember her name. Let's talk about what's gonna happen. What people can expect is their ticket and all that stuff.
It's $15 at the door. We're providing some complimentary wine, and then we'll also have some other refreshments available. Like I said, we'll have a featured whiskey, which will be the
Uncle Nearest.
And basically we'll have just like an actor studio. We're gonna sit down, me and Sheba, and we'll have a conversation for about an hour.
Wow.
And if there's a few questions at the end that people want to throw at her, but primarily we're gonna start from the beginning and the most basic things. Where you're from, who your people are. What was high school like? Did you get shoved in the locker?
Right.
All
Find
of
out
that,
forward.
Yeah,
Now is this? And I know we've been talking about the whole idea of a series, because you got to do it. It only makes sense. But are you going to focus on the spoken word people?
Well, like I said,
Spoken word artists. I'm sorry.
Of the 7 or 10 that I have in mind, most of them are. Probably 3 or 4 of them aren't. But like I said, I never thought about teachers, things like that. Like I said, it's, even now it's just more of, I have a few people I know I can call when it's ready to go. And like I said, Sheba was somebody I was like, she was kind of like when I say the prototype, she's kind of really like, exemplifies that, that duality of what I'm trying to get by, because like even when you're talking about a teacher, there's a lot that goes into being a teacher,
right,
and almost,
exactly.
The reward might not even be, but you changing lives, but so it's, that's kind of, I've watched a lot of people move. When I first moved to Atlanta, there was 3 people, right, that were kind of like these invisible bullies that I just used to hear their names, but I never met them or nothing. And it was Georgia Me, this guy named Talam AC, and Queen Sheba. And so I actually met Queen Sheba of those 3 people over the course of time, she's the first one I actually had met. She might not remember it was with Mark Marcel, and she had a layover in Atlanta one time, and she just called Mark one time because she was probably just at the airport for 3 or 4 hours, whatever it was, and she had called Mark to come out there and hang out with her. And I just happened to be over there, and it was like, oh shit, this person I had been hearing about, you know what I mean? So it goes, like I said, I knew Sheba before I knew Sheba. So that's what, for me, it was kind of that perfect, when you're talking about quote-unquote superheroes. You might not have met, most people never met Superman, but you heard of him.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That's how you know, you know what I mean?
Because a lot of people might not know your curriculum vitae. That's another word, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, curriculum vitae. I was going to say, I'm really excited about this. Going back to, we were talking about earlier how spoken word artists just don't get a lot of glamour. And I really like the idea of having this conversation because singers get interviews, hip hop artists have the Breakfast Club, comedians, had, they have everything now, but, they have conversations, they have podcasts, whatever. And then spoken word artists still kind of get that shuffle to the side. Like, even though, we're grown up and have lives and jobs and houses and cars.
And have Grammy-nominated projects.
And have Grammy-nominated projects and a litany. Hello? Come
on
with words. Word nerd. A litany of accolades. It still is like, oh, that's cool, but you still do poetry.
Yeah,
and it's like, it's still like, oh, I used to do poetry, or oh, my cousin does poetry. Like when you say, oh, I'm going to run into Jaguar Wright today, or my friend's Jaguar Wright, you're like, oh, my cousin sings. You don't do that to singers.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, my little sister sings now. But they're always like, oh, for real, I used to write poems. Like, shut the fuck up.
Roses are red and violets are blue are not what they're talking about,
Right,
ladies and gentlemen.
like,
It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, because when I was here when Georgia Me was here, I did not know. First of all, Georgia Me is Georgia down, Atlanta down. You cut her open, Atlanta's gonna come out of her veins. But one of the things that I learned, Origins, was the fact that she's been on Broadway. Is a Tony Award winning Broadway star.
Kaumba Award, Tony Award. Like,
I'm like, in my midst, because I am a thespian in disguise, just in case y'all didn't know. And so to sit here and hear her origin and hear her art and have seen her on the Def Comedy Slam, a Def Poetry Slam, I think is what it was called, and seen her on Monique, and I'm like, oh, this is her. Wow. So some amazing people that you will have the chance to see, and tonight is the night to hear about Queen Sheba, who you've already heard is already an amazing person already.
Oh, thank
Queen
you.
Sheba for Atlanta District 2, Seat 2. I got it. So it's tonight, one more time, for the people that didn't hear it in the back row.
260 Howard Street, doors open at 8 p.m., $15 at the door. Complimentary wine, and our featured whiskey will be Uncle Nearest.
Now, I have a question about the whiskey, just because I have a sponsorship with a different whiskey company. Now, do you have a contract with Uncle Nearest?
No. This is just me.
Okay, this is what I can do. I can hook you up with some guys. It's called Greenwood Whiskey. Okay. And it's a black-owned whiskey. It's originated.
Yeah. And that's what I want to do.
Right.
That's the whole idea of me doing it like that. Yeah.
It's a group of friends, a group of guys that I know that started up about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And they actually they reached out and got some assistance from Uncle Nearest.
Okay.
But yeah, they've been featured with Killer Mike, Goody Mob. They've done some stuff with. I'm not sure if you're familiar with New Face. He had a little. He has a hip hop nostalgia spot downtown. But yeah, they like I said, it's a black owned. Okay. And it's a group of 4 guys. Okay. But it's Greenwood Whiskey. They sponsor the Commissioner's Conversation.
And Greenwood Whiskey, I'm gonna need 10% of that contract because it happened right here on this show. Just saying.
But yeah, I can definitely put you in touch with them.
Oh, actually, let's do that.
All right, now you see how this black commune just happens. Yeah. All this black commune and black greatness just happening right here, and it's inside Club Chit Chat. Yes, indeed, all under the influence of whatever it is that we're imbibing. Just might be okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is Club Chit Chat on WERUradio, the urban sound of pride. Who got it over there? Who got it?
I am Queen Sheba, and I'm sitting in for Miss Sophia. You're listening to Club Chit Chat on WERUradio, the urban sound of pride.
The one and only Shay Kool-Aid with creme brulee. It's right here in Club Chit Chat on WERUradio, the urban sound of pride. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, well, I'm glad you're here. You're not too late to get a little bit of something. It is myself, George Daigle, sitting in for the one and only Miss Sophia. Now, I want y'all to know how many people does it take to take the place of this woman. Now, I'm going to start over here on my left. Yes, 1, that's 2, that's 3, and 4. 4. Yes.
It's like a joke. How many people does it take to screw in the light bulb?
Right. That's all of us right there. And so we are here, ladies and gentlemen, and it is our final hour in Club Chit Chat if you're just joining us today. Huh?
We got an hour? Final.
This is our final break.
Oh.
Yeah, you thought you had one more hour. No, you can stay one more hour. We'll come back and get you, baby. We'll come back and get you. But yes, you are here inside Club Chit Chat, and I just want you to know that it has been a pleasure being with all of you. Some really interesting conversations. We talked about a little bit of relationships. We talked about some great events that are happening in the area. Origins, a little mutant power. I liked that. We talked about Queen Sheba for Atlanta, Seat 2, District 2.
Hello.
I got it. I got it. We talked about some conversations with Commissioner Gordon.
Yep.
With an O, not an A. I just want spell check to know that. It was not my fault. But there is an interesting story in the news, ladies and gentlemen. See, I'm going to act like I know about sports, but I don't know a damn thing, but I know how to read. Now, June 1st is a very important date in NFL for a whole lot of reasons. And Julio Jones is an important name. And that date is important. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Commissioner Gordon, to explain to us, the good people, what's so important.
Well, it's salary cap implications. So the way a lot of contracts are structured, that once you get paid, what goes on is June 1st is a date that you actually your money decreases off the books. So let's just say I think they've increased it to $200 million that a team can spend on players.
The whole team?
Yes, for the entire team. So let's say you have a contract, per season. So let's say you have a contract where you're getting paid $26 million a season. Mm-hmm. But at the end of June, if I trade you, there's always it's confusing clauses and all kind of. But if I trade you before, or I try to cut you before that June 1st date, I have to pay you all of that money. Ooh. If I wait till after June 1st, then I might be on the books. I think in terms of Julio Jones, if they want to trade him, they're only on the books for $7 million. So it's only going to count $7 million against the cap as opposed to that $20 million.
So they need to fire him before a certain date, basically.
They can fire him after. So they're going to trade him. So what recently happened with Julio Jones. Yes. So what recently happened with Julio, the Atlanta Falcons are basically, they can't sign their rookies. You had an NFL draft. You can't sign the rookies because you messed up the money so bad that you can't fit under the budget without accepting penalty. Mm-hmm. So what you have to do is a lot of times you reconstruct contracts. You put money on the back end. You try to get bonuses out in this end. And so you have to do a lot of finagling with your money, like a checkbook.
Right.
So it turns out Atlanta Falcons has a new GM. They have a new head coach. They got all of these things, and Julio is looking around like it's a whole new direction. Mm-hmm. I don't really think I want to be here. But the draft is coming up. So the Falcons draft a guy who basically, Kyle Trask, who basically is a Julio clone.
Wow. So the writing's on the wall, basically.
Right. So everybody's thinking, at first everyone was thinking, okay, we could possibly match him with Julio, put him on one side, Julio on the other, and we'd be unstoppable. But that's not the plan. The plan is to get rid of Julio and to trade him. But you couldn't trade him until June 1st because if you traded him, we're still paying his contract, and I would give him away to you while I'm still paying for it.
Wow. So do you think they are ultimately going to trade him?
Yes.
That is the plan.
Why?
Because the thing about it is he wants a trade. They want to get the freedom of money. They want the salary cap so they can sign all these guys that they just picked up. Mm-hmm. And so what wound up happening, there's a show on, I think it's Fox Sports South. Shannon Sharp is on the show, and this is the debatable part. Shannon Sharp, they're talking about Julio Jones, and Shannon Sharp says, "Let me call my boy." Dials up, calls up Julio Jones.
Oh, there's a controversy about that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
He answers the phone, and I don't know whether I'm assuming he did his due diligence and said you're going to be live on the air. But he starts off the conversation like saying, "Hey, man, what's up? We sitting here, we talking about you being in the Falcons, what up? He says, "No, I'm out of there, bro." And so then he keeps going there like, "Do you want to go to the Cowboys?" He's like, "Nah, I ain't going to Cowboys, man. I need to go to a winner." And then, but the crazy part comes in is he then says, "All right, I'll call you back. You live on the air." Like, wait a minute, you didn't want to say that before?
Wow. So he put him in a very compromising position.
Julio
He
Jones
said that he was under duress.
And Julio Jones is a person that we never hear from ever. Ever.
Yeah, they say he does that
That's
intentionally.
not cool, yo.
And so the debate is Fox, Shannon Sharp, all of them can come under fire because we don't know whether Julio Jones was actually just like he was receiving a phone call from a friend.
Right.
And it was just they just put him out there, or if he actually knew.
But hold on. We know good and well in the hood, in the neighborhood, in your mama house, in your grandma house, in your auntie house, when somebody call you on speaker and you can hear it, what's the first thing you say?
Take me off speaker.
Take me off speaker.
But let's
Or take me off speaker and am I on speaker are almost interchangeable. Like take me off speaker, am I on speaker?
Right.
Like you almost like you're on speaker, right? So it's not Julio Jones' fault at all. That is not what I'm saying.
Right.
But I'm just thinking like, dang, that's messed up, Shannon Sharp.
But what if
But
Julio
you know what?
Jones' plan was to throw that wrench?
Well, he was getting traded regardless.
But I'm just saying, just to make it look even stickier, to make it look like I want out.
Well,
I want out
instead
here.
of the
That's the funny thing about this is because that actually hurts his image. For me to say I don't want to be there.
right.
Like if the whole city of Atlanta would blame the Falcons if they got rid of Julio Jones without him saying, "I'm out of there, bro."
Right.
If everything that happened, if he doesn't say a word, if that phone call never takes place and Julio gets traded on June 2nd,
Wow.
everybody's
Which is Wednesday.
Right. If everybody's looking at Arthur Blank, everybody's looking at Fontenot, everybody's looking at Arthur Smith, this whole executive board as the bad guy. Now it looks like Julio.
Well, hold on.
That's so mad.
I'm the conspiracy theorist here. So let's just say, Shannon might have got a little phone call from Arthur or whosoever. Say, "Hey, I know you know his phone number. Why don't you make this happen live on the air? Go and do that for me." Now, what if now you looking at me?
Yeah, and that's not out of the realm of possibility. But once again, Julio, it should have been known whether and also coming back from that. So with that, the Falcons are looking at suing Fox, though.
That's good.
Because,
So at least they're saying we didn't condone this
Right.
behavior, this conversation.
because ultimately what their stance is, it could be tampering. You don't know.
Ooh.
That's my whole
We could
idea.
have a deal on the table.
That's what I'm saying.
And
What if the idea was to get that to happen on the air?
But it doesn't.
So any negotiations, any conversations, anything that was going on with Julio or outside of the Falcons, that's all messed up.
Well, yeah, it would be all messed up. But what in the Falcons' defense, if I have Julio Jones now and the Dallas Cowboys want Julio Jones, but they don't know that he really wants to leave, then they're going to keep making the offer, keep sweetening the pot. We'll give you
but now that they know
player.
he's really want to leave, they're going to be like, we'll give him $5 million.
Yeah. Now
He
that
wanna
they know
leave
that-
anyway.
Now we'll give you this player off the bench that we never use because he don't really want to be there. You got to give him to somebody. There's no reason why I'm going to give you this
Pay for
Christmas
both.
tree of players and picks and money to the Falcons when I know he doesn't want to be there.
Wow.
You know who our coach should be? Tom Brady.
I'm sure he will probably be coaching when he gets finished because apparently
Anywhere
he can
he
do
goes.
no wrong. Yeah,
I know. Anywhere he
can
goes.
do no-
He went to the Buccaneers. What was it? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who haven't even been in discussion since 1977.
Yeah, they call him the Succaneers.
Well, so did they win? Did they win?
They won the championship.
They won the championship.
Tom
His
Brady
wife
leaves.
said, I no longer want to live in the cold. Can we please move somewhere warm? And why didn't he go to the Dolphins? I don't know. But whatever. So he ends up in Tampa Bay.
He chose.
Well,
Tampa.
okay.
Tampa Bay
I'm
wound
saying
up-
end up. That his wife wanted to move to Florida. And so
It's also no state tax.
Oh, so
Yeah, it's no state tax.
wow.
So Tom Brady, we need you as our head coach, please and thank you.
Tom Brady strikes me as a guy who I had a basketball coach tell me in the NBA. He was talking. He was like, there are a lot of guys that you look at and you see, and they'll tell you how much they love their family and all this stuff, but they don't really want to go home. Like,
He's addicted to the grind.
you don't really want to go home. Like you've had this family. You like going back home for the weekend or Monday, Tuesday, and then, but when the off season comes, you're pining for the season to start back because you don't really know your wife. Your wife, your significant other. They construct this household to their liking, and you have to fit into that.
Yeah, you're the outside.
Because you're a weekend dad. You come in every
That's a
now
great
and again.
perspective.
And so when you get there, and
you
now
have
you're
to
retired,
acclimate over and over again.
and now you're retired now, and you're 30 years old, and now you're retired. What are you gonna do?
Well, that's what Michael Phelps said. He said he went home, got depressed. Did he have a new baby? I guess.
I think he had it,
Yeah,
yeah.
he had a new baby because he was home, and he didn't know who he was without swimming. Got fat, depressed. We was smoking weed. Smoking weed, got the munchies, got fat, got out of shape, and was like, he didn't say these words. I know this being taped, but basically he was like, I don't know who I am without swimming. So
Well, that's how a lot of these athletes have identified themselves. It's how a lot of their friends, their family have identified themselves. You see a guy that made an NFL or the NBA, he's been doing that since he was like 5.
right.
So he's been known as XYZ, the basketball player, XYZ, the football player. And so when these guys get hurt or when they have to get cut or released by a team, they go into that depression. They don't know how to handle
People change on them too.
being
Yeah.
the guy.
Yeah.
Because like 50% of all the NFL people after they out the league, half of them are divorced within a few years.
Right.
Because now the check ain't gonna be the same unless you get you have some type of post career type of job that pays
Work
that
for-
kind of
yeah,
money.
work for like
But,
ESPN or something like
you
that,
know what I
yeah.
mean? But if you don't have that, yeah. So even those jobs are just as limited as just getting in the NFL in itself. You know what I mean? You already got to be articulate and be witty and all that. If you ain't that, you're gonna be just depending on how you spent your money over it. Because it's particularly when you're talking about the NFL, you're talking about 4 or 5 years. If you lucky, you know what I'm saying? And if you out there trying to speak, everybody's not Tom Brady as far as they check. Some of them guys out there making $300,000 or $400,000.
Most of them are making.
And if you're trying out here, depending on who you out here trying to keep up with, if you out here trying to keep LeBron can buy the team dinner every night, and it's no big deal.
Right.
You might not be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You need that
and you're gonna have
McDonald's.
to depend because your career. I mean, for every LeBron, there's 50 people you'll never hear of.
And that's
You know what I'm
especially
saying?
in football, like you were saying, because you think I play in the NFL, everybody assumes instantly millionaire.
Right now.
And that's not the case. There are those contracts like we were just talking about
10-day contract.
with Julio Jones where, there's 2, 3, 4 people maybe making $20 million and everybody else is making like the league minimum, which is like $325,000.
Lineman or something like that.
And the best thing that they can do is reach that pension. So you can hope that you can stay in for 5 years and to where they can continue to pay your medical. You can continue to pay your insurance. Because I was listening to a guy, he was talking on this podcast that he had recently bought his family like a Peloton and a treadmill. And he was talking about his parents are 60 years old. He was like, he's 32 years old or whatever. And he's out of the league. And he was talking to his dad. And his dad was like, yeah, I walked on the treadmill like 45 minutes. And then I jumped on the bike, the little Peloton for like 15, 20 minutes or whatever. And he was like, he thought to himself, he said, I can't do that.
Wow.
At 32 years old, I can't walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes because my back, my knees, my shoulder, my hips, I can't do it. My dad, who's 65 years old, is sitting here telling me that he can do all these things that I can't do half of his age.
Wow.
So they depend on, he's like, thank God I was in the NFL for that amount of time so I can look around and I can see that my family, we still have our health benefits being paid for by the NFL.
Well, here's one last question before we wrap up because we're about to run out of time.
And I have one sports comment.
And let me read this because they do pay the bills. You resolved to start a new career this year, but haven't done it yet. iCode Academy can set you on a path to a life-changing education all online from the comfort of wherever you are. In 9 months, you could be certified as a medical coding expert and earn up to $60,000 a year. So call iCode Academy for information at 1-866-553-2928 or go to icodesacademy.org. That's iCodes with an S, academy.org. Now, my question, now that I paid the bills, the question, what do you think is going to be the outcome for Julio Jones? Let's say he had an offer on the table. Let's say he was having conversations. He's definitely not stuck on the Falcons. Is he going to be just out in the street with his thumb up? Or
No. They'll definitely make some type of a deal, but the problem is going to
The
be
Falcons,
now,
will you think?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But the problem will be now getting maximum compensation back for him because we may not get what we thought we were going to get in return because now the world knows that he doesn't want to be here. So they'll probably still get traded. They'll probably just try to get whatever they can. And because I've always said on mine, we don't owe Julio anything because we kept paying him every time he wanted to raise. He wanted to be the top paid receiver. We did that. And now we're stuck in this hellhole. And now he wants to leave. So they'll get rid of him. They'll trade him. But I would trade him to where we can get the most from him.
And this lawsuit with Fox, is that him?
No, that's the Falcons.
The Falcons are suing.
Yes.
Which is a good look for the Falcons to sue Fox because they're basically saying, we didn't know that you were doing this to our player.
I don't believe it.
So
I don't believe it.
Well, what could wind up happening is the NFL could basically kind of not really compensate the Falcons, but they could probably and usually when I say compensate, they would probably give you like an extra draft pick, late in 5th, 6th round, something like that, something just to say, okay, we understand what happened. And while we won't stop anything from happening, we can't control what happened. We'll try to, we'll give you a compensatory pick.
Come on, compensatory. All these words today. All these SAT words.
I just think it smells to high heaven. There's a lot of moving parts in this that just
but what's his name? The interview. What's his name?
Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, he wouldn't have wanted to risk his career because that's career risky too.
Yes.
Because that's really career risky for him to call his friend. Now you're losing a friendship.
Is Shannon an active player?
No, he's a retired.
Okay, so hold on. We don't know, and I'm just.
But he works for Fox.
But he works for Fox, and that's risky to lose your relationship with.
But that check that he might have gotten, I'm just saying.
Nah.
That compensation.
There's no way.
Unless it was enough to set you straight for life.
Why would he lose that?
Because this is the job that he has been working for a couple years now, and now you're running the risk of not only hurting the friendship with Julio Jones. But now,
no athlete's going to trust you when you call them. No one's going to talk to you. You're not going to be able to get interviews. You're not going to be able to get exclusives. Now you call me on speaker, and I'm be like, nah, click.
Right.
Nobody's going to trust him anymore.
Your contact ID is do not answer.
Do not answer.
DNA.
Wow. I wanted to go back a little bit. I had mentioned earlier.
Quickly, ma'am.
I will. This is on sports. It's on sports, I promise. So my son, Furlize on Instagram, is a overseas basketball player. And it was interesting. You were talking about the family dynamic, about how they don't go back home, et cetera, et cetera. So he had taken his family overseas. I have a granddaughter who's 6 and his wife. But when she was pregnant with their now very newborn, like 2 weeks old, he had an opportunity to go play in a country. I just won't say which one. He was already in a country. They told him to come home, like his contract was over for now, but he was going to get another country, in July. But this other country wanted him because they lost 2 guards. Right. And he chose to go home. And I was shocked. I was like, Because I don't think I would have chose to go home. Even as a spoken word artist, I think we've had to make these decisions before. Like, do I get this check that who knows when it's going to run out? How many years I have to play in basketball? Or, which country's going to call me next? That's got to be way more stressful than the NBA. And when he decided to go home to be with his wife during her last couple of weeks of pregnancy, I was shocked, impressed maybe. But
yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, that is impressive. And it almost kind of weirded me out a little bit.
Well, you should pat yourself on the back because and I'm sure they've had a conversation. I mean, because that's very few people put the family ahead of the career. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I'm pretty sure they probably had a conversation about, what she was going through, how she's feeling or whatever.
Right.
But most people would just say, "Oh, you understand, it's money. I gotta get it while I can."
Yeah.
And I don't know when these type of checks will end. So yeah, like. That's very commendable.
It was
very commendable.
And then he bought a pair of Balenciaga sneakers in my face, and I was like, "Whoa, can we afford this? What is happening?" And he was like, "Nah, we good." And I'm like, "I don't know what people get overseas. I don't know, So it was an interesting visit.
This has been a good show. I have learned a lot. Thank you. I really did learn a lot. I still think there's something afoot.
You are going to get down to this.
I'm going to find
well,
the
we're
mystery.
about to see,
Right.
and because June 1st is Tuesday.
It's going to all come out in the wash.
All going to come out in the wash. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Queen Sheba for Atlanta, Seat 2, District 2.
Hello.
Commissioner Gordon, thank you all. And Miss Sophia, I hope we did you proud. I hope I still have a job tomorrow, and so do they, because they would love to come back again. And until we speak, y'all be careful out there, and we got to go. This is Club Chit Chat on WERUradio, the urban sound
of pride.
You better sing it on the way out. Oh, that's what she's supposed. Oh, I forgot. I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh and sing a song or two. And before you ever know it, comes the time for us to show it and the time for us to say so long. I'm out.